Hey guys, and welcome to the Financial Bunny TV. My name is Nicolette Mashile, but you can call me the Financial Bunny. On today's episode of Nicolette Save My Finances, we have Gaurelo. Now remember that any of my videos do not constitute as financial advice. If you are looking for financial advice, please speak to somebody who is certified and registered with the FSCA. Let's hear what Gaurelo wants to know.
Hi Nicolette, I hope you're well. My name is Gaurelo. I just have a question here. I want to know when is the right time to sell your house, if maybe is financed by the bank. Let's say today I decide to get a bond and then it gets approved by the bank, and then I start paying for a certain period, and say I decide to sell the house, and when is the right time to sell, provided that I'm going to have some benefits, I'm going to gain some money. And then
Well, that's quite an easy one, Gaurelo. When it comes to selling your property, you've got to keep certain things in mind. And I think one of the first things that we need to consider is, why are you selling, right? Or why did you buy in the first place? What was the buying strategy? Because if you stick to the buying strategy, then it's easy for you to know when is the right time to let go of a property. This could be dependent on the fact that you can see that wherever the property is location-wise, it is becoming really difficult for you to get some sort of yield that you're hoping for, or to attract the right type of tenants, or plus anything else that could come up would be the deterioration of either the location or actually the property itself, or where you can already foresee that market conditions are going to disallow you to make any type of competitive return on that property. So I think it's important for you to always analyze, when it comes to property, what was my original buying strategy, what type of yield was I hoping to get from this property, and when you can see that you are not getting what you want and there isn't potential for you to get what you want in the desired time that you've got, then it might be time for you to let go of a property. So what are some of the things that you need to consider when you are going to be selling your property? I think one of the most important thing is doing a CMA, which is the Okay, so I think one of the first and most important things to do is to do a competitive market analysis, which is called the CMA. Basically, you're looking to see other properties that are within the same band as your property, maybe perhaps also within the same type of region, and see what they are selling at. Because pricing a property, even when you are selling, is very important and will determine how quickly that property will go. But at the same time, while you are pricing, you do not want to price yourself out of a profit. It is important that if you did buy to sell, you do make some sort of profit, keeping in mind the agent's fees, the lawyer fees, and plus, of course, tax that is probably going to be applicable when you sell, which is called capital gains tax. So you do need to consider all those three things at the top of your head when you are pricing your property. But at the same time, you don't want to overshoot that price, because it means that your property will be in the market for a very long time, mostly because a lot of people are using funding to be able to buy properties, and banks do what is called a valuation before they give somebody else a home loan to actually buy your property, which then means you might find yourself in a situation where nobody is able to afford your property because it's overpriced. The second thing that I would say is choose the right partners when it comes to selling your property. One of probably the most important thing to make sure is to get the property ready for selling. What does that mean? For instance, today I went and actually got my car ready for a sale, because I'm ready to sell my car. I've made sure that the little chips and things I'm able to fix, because yes, I might be able to sell it and say I'm selling it as is, but I might take a lower price because of those very visible things that one can actually see. Things like scratches, things like a broken mirror, things like a cracked windscreen, things like chipped rims. Those are things that I can fix with my own pocket and then shoot up the price a little bit so that I can get a better price on the actual car. So with a house, it's almost something similar. Make sure that the house is ready for selling or ready for sale. Make sure that you've painted the house. Make sure that you fixed any tiles. If they've got chips, make sure you're fixing them. The doors, make sure they open and close. The windows especially, make sure they open and close. It's simple things like that, especially defects that one can see with the naked eye. It is important to make sure that you've got the right partners, and these are people that are going to come in and refurbish your house for the purposes of a sale. Of course, we're not saying make big refurbishment things, but do make the small things that one can actually see, right? And then probably another very important partner is getting a selling agent if you are going to be using an agent to sell. For some people, they go at it by themselves, and these are generally people that have been in the property market and understand how property actually works. If not, rather get the expertise of an agent who knows what it is that they're doing. But again, don't get an agent that is going to scam you. Get an agent that understands the property market, but also understands the location where your house is situated, to make sure that they get you the best buyer, but at the right price, and also doesn't price you out with their commission fees, because sometimes those commission fees of agents can really be exorbitant to a point where you are unable to actually make some sort of profit because you're always trying to sell under. Remember, it's important, and I always say, make sure you get some sort of structure with your agent, like how some of the taxi drivers do it, where they say, if you make me 800 rand or 8,000 rand a day, I don't care how much more you make on the house. It's irrespective of how much more you make on the house. That generally works a little bit better, but it can also push the price of the property out, because the agent might be trying to make up some commission and then they overprice your house. Or you could essentially say, look, I'll give you a cap up until 7% of however the selling price that I want. So you can either sell it, you can up and down in between that 7%. You can decide that if you really want the sale to go through, you can bring down your commission to 5%. So those are some of the structures that you can certainly look at. All right, and number 3, make sure that you are disclosing any types of defects that you have on your house. We've got 2 types of defects. We've got patent defects and your latent defects. Even if you are selling with a clause, which is the footstools clause, which means that selling as is, you need to make sure that you do disclose any types of patent defects that you do know. Of course, your patent defects are those defects that any reasonable inspection or even the naked eye is able to recognize or able to see. So these are things like your cracks on the walls, or maybe there's mold because maybe it rains and in the house leaks, or you've got like chips on your tiles, or whatever it is, right? And of course, the latent defects are defects that one cannot see with the naked eye or reasonably with an inspection. These are now deeply seated, like I have with my plumbing, because if you have like 10 people in my house at a time, my bathroom clogs up. A very, very latent defect that I did not know about. I mean, a simple thing, when my father came to see my house, he started knocking, because my dad is a civil engineer, right? Started knocking on the walls, and he was like, you bought a hollow house. This house doesn't have proper walls. And I was like, oh my God, shouldn't you have done this before I actually bought the house? But that's a story for another day. Let's not get emotional. So yeah, anyway, those are some of the things that you do need to disclose, because the next person needs to be able to know about those things. Then, of course, you also need to make sure that your house is ready for show days, and you do actually allocate some show days, because you do want your house to actually be sold and not only depend on the listings that are done on the likes of Private Property or Property 24. So you do want to also make sure that there are days that when you're dedicating it to having your agent really sell your house. Speaking about agents, make sure that you have a sole mandate. This thing of splitting your mandate across 30,000 agents to try and sell your house because you think that if you got more people trying to sell your house, it will help, you just cause a lot of confusion. So please don't do that. Rather have a sole mandate given to one person and let them try and give them a specified amount of time. If they're failing, then you can move on to the next agent. But to split your attention and split all sorts of things, you are going to get all sorts of problems. So I would rather say kind of run away from that thing. And then, of course, the other thing that you need to also do is that when your agent does bring you an offer, consider all offers. Don't write offers off because you think that your house is worth so much money and oh my goodness, how dare somebody offer you such a low offer. It might be the only offer you get. So really to consider all types of offers, right? While you are actually considering those offers, maybe also do learn to take a bit of advice. If the bank is saying to you, you have overpriced your house, perhaps maybe that is the right time for you to start relooking at doing more valuations of your property. Here's the thing. A lot of us get really emotionally attached to our properties and we think, oh my goodness, my property is worth this much. Especially if you are still owing the bank some money for that specific property and you are still hoping to make a profit. So you want to pay back the bank, settle your home loan, and still make some little bit of profit and still be able to pay capital gains tax. My friend, it's not always realistic. So I would say really do the sums before you make a decision on selling. But if the property is taking more money out of your pocket and you're actually making a loss, an even bigger loss than you would if you just try to sell and broke even, then perhaps maybe it is time to let go of that property. But you do need to do the numbers because at the end of the day, mathematics does not lie. Oh yes, don't forget to update all your compliance certificates. Absolutely important, guys. You can't sell a house without those compliance certificates. Things like if you have a gas stove, if you have wood, all those types, electricity, even your electricity, and making sure that your municipal bill is up to date. Those are some of the things that you do need to make sure that are all up to date and you do have those certificates. And also the plans of the house. You can't sell a house without the plans, guys. A lot of people try to sell homes without the plans. The plans and the title deed. Know where the title deed is, for goodness sake. If you have settled that property and you are supposed to be the one who's in possession of the title deed, please make sure you know where it is. I don't get it. People don't know where their title deeds are. And I'm like, you do know that it takes so long to actually get a copy of a title deed, because you need to go to the deeds office to be able to get that. It doesn't just pop out of nowhere. You can't photocopy a title deed. So they gotta actually print out a whole new copy for you. And it can actually become a hindrance for you to sell your house. Ask me, I know. Because one house that I tried to buy, we couldn't find the title deed and it really delayed the sale for 7 months. I couldn't buy the property for 7 months. And of course, I wasn't going to let go of it because it was priced very well. But, make sure that there is a title deed and you've got the title deed before you try to sell. And then again, capital gains tax. Remember that you will pay capital gains tax. Any type of property that does make a capital gain, you will pay for it. Of course, if it's your primary residence, there are some sort of tax allowances that you can tap into. So also do look at that. And then, of course, in terms of when is the best time to sell, as I said in the beginning, you do need to look at other situations in terms of what was your buying strategy, what is the actual market conditions in the moment, because there are certain times when the market is not conducive for anybody to sell, when it's not a seller's market and it's a buyer's market. Laws of supply and demand will also come into play. If the supply is too much, it might not be a good time for you to sell, because then it means that your buyer has way too many options, and when buyers have options, they can go anywhere and they can negotiate for prices to be lowered. So you'd rather want to sell when it is a seller's market and there aren't many properties in the market that are selling. It means that you've got a right, or not necessarily a right, but you have kind of a market to play in terms of your pricing. And remember that pricing, when it comes to property, it's not always the same market conditions for all different types of income bands, because some high properties might be the ones that are struggling, whereas your 1 bedrooms, your 2 bedrooms are still fairly okay, and people can still afford to service their credit, so they are not necessarily selling because they are in desperate need to sell. So it is also important that you remember that in a seller's market, that's when you probably should sell, and in a buyer's market, you'd rather hold. Another thing when it comes to the aesthetics of your house is perhaps maybe some of the best time to sell your house is when your house can look its best. Houses don't look great in winter, but houses look amazing in summer, especially when there is, summer or spring, when you've got a garden, the trees are green, the grass is green, even the picket fence looks even more white, and everything just looks amazing. And also take the pictures that you take. Guys, please, man, when you get agents, make sure they take nice pictures of your house if you're going to be selling. This thing of having ugly pictures is not going to sell your house. And put all the lights on in the house. Nobody wants to buy a dark house. You guys like to have these dark rooms and dark corridors. Now, take that away, man. Ugh. Make sure that your real estate agent does take nice pictures of your house. Maybe also use the new age technology. Get like a virtual tour of your house. This picture thing is just not working anymore. Like, listen, you gotta capture me when I'm still on property 24 and private property. I gotta feel like I'm getting a deal here. I gotta feel like, oh my God, how can a house like this be priced at this? And you can only do that when you are literally using the right type of technology. So just invest in a good camera, good lighting, take good pictures of your house, and then also take night pictures of the house with all the lights on. Many houses, especially big houses, look amazing. Get some light into the pool. Get the pool to be sparkling blue. Take some good pictures at night. Your house always looks amazing at night, and with lighting, it looks bigger than it actually is. I promise you. And mirrors make a house look bigger inside all the time. So get some mirrors and minimal furniture. Minimal furniture make houses, especially apartments, look bigger in size. Don't let them lie to you. I know these things. Oh yes, the other market conditions that you got to consider are interest rates. Are interest rates high or low? Are people really getting reasonable interest rates from the banks? Are people actually getting home loans from the banks? Do people have an appetite of taking up home loans? That also really helps, because when people get lower rates from the banks, they generally want to take up home loans. But when the rates are too high, people generally shy away from debt, any type of debt. So that could also be a big factor in when you actually are going to be selling your property. So timing is also very, very important. Gaurelo, I hope that answers the first part of your question. I will address the second part of your question. I was trying to just make this video as short as possible. So I do hope that I did answer your question. And if not, please send me an email on arbaloi@nicolettem.com, and I will try and assist as best as I can. Yeah, okay, bye.